For more than 50 years, he was America's everyman, the face of brilliant, anxious, and deeply human comedy. He was the musician on the run, the fussy roommate, the corporate drone just trying to get ahead. He was Jack Lemmon, an actor who could make you laugh until you cried, often in the very same scene. Watching him on screen was like watching controlled chaos, a perfect reflection of the frantic, funny, and sometimes heartbreaking business of just being alive. But behind the laughter that filled theaters for decades, a quiet 2-year war was being waged. This is the story of Jack Lemmon's final and perhaps most courageous performance, a battle fought not for an Oscar, but for his life. It was a struggle he chose to face far from the spotlight, defined by the same dignity, grace, and profound humanity that made him a legend. John Euler Lemmon III was born, rather fittingly for a future star of screwball comedies, in a hospital elevator in Newton, Massachusetts, on February 8, 1925. As the son of a donut company president, his early life was comfortable, but it was also filled with frequent illness that kept him in hospitals for long stretches. Perhaps all that time spent watching the world go by helped him develop the keen observational skills and deep empathy that would later define his work. By the time he was 8, he already knew he wanted to be an actor. After graduating from Harvard, where he was president of the famed Hasty Pudding Theatrical Club, Lemmon headed for New York. He played piano in smoky bars and, like so many aspiring actors, cut his teeth on radio dramas and the high-pressure world of live television. Then, Hollywood called, and in 1955, the world truly took notice. His role as the conniving but ultimately decent Ensign Pulver in Mr. Roberts was a revelation. It showcased the quintessential Lemmon persona, a jittery, well-meaning guy in way over his head whose goodness ultimately shines through. The performance earned him his first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. From there, his star didn't just rise, it exploded. He kicked off one of the most legendary collaborations in cinema history with director Billy Wilder. In Some Like It Hot, Lemmon, disguised as Daphne, tangos with a love-struck millionaire, his frantic energy barely contained by a dress and heels. A year later, in The Apartment, he gave us C.C. Bud Baxter, a lonely corporate climber who lends out his apartment for his boss's affairs. Here, Lemmon perfected the art of tragicomedy, making us laugh at Bud's mess while breaking our hearts with his quiet desperation. And you can't talk about Jack Lemmon without talking about his other great partner, Walter Matthau. On screen, they were the ultimate odd couple, Lemmon as the neurotic Felix Unger, Matthau as the slobbish Oscar Madison. Their chemistry was pure magic, a perfect clash that produced comedic gold in 10 films over 3 decades, from The Fortune Cookie to Grumpy Old Men. Off-screen, they were the best of friends, a bond so deep that Lemmon's son Chris said his father had finally found the brother he'd always wanted. As much as Jack Lemmon could make the world laugh, his ambition was never just about comedy. He had a stunning dramatic range and was never afraid to explore the darker corners of being human. A writer for the New York Times once noted that Lemmon's message was always, "This could be you." That applied not just to the guy trying to get a promotion, but also to the man at the end of his rope. In 1962, he gave a devastating performance in Days of Wine and Roses, playing a PR man who descends into the hell of alcoholism, dragging his wife down with him. It was a raw, unflinching look at addiction that stunned audiences who were used to his lighter work and earned him another Oscar nomination. And this wasn't just acting. Lemmon later spoke with incredible honesty about his own battle with alcohol, a fight he had won years earlier. He understood human weakness because he'd faced it himself, and he put that vulnerability right up on the screen for all of us to see. The project was so personal to Lemmon that he cut his own salary just to get the film made. The role was the ultimate showcase of his anxious everyman, a character whose cheerful face masks a quiet desperation. His powerful dramatic work continued in films like The China Syndrome and Missing, for which he won Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Lemmon never stopped working. He returned to the stage for a blistering revival of Long Day's Journey into Night. He gave a ferocious performance in the film adaptation of Glengarry Glen Ross, and he reunited with his old pal Walter Matthau for the smash hit Grumpy Old Men and its sequel, winning over a whole new generation. Publicly, he was an icon, collecting Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Kennedy Center and the AFI. But privately, as the millennium drew to a close, a new and terrifying challenge was just beginning. Around 1999, while still working and being celebrated, Jack Lemmon received a life-altering diagnosis. He had cancer. Sources indicate it was bladder cancer, a disease he would fight privately for the next 2 years. True to his nature, Lemmon chose to keep his illness completely out of the public eye. While Hollywood saw the consummate professional, few knew the man himself was in the fight of his life. He didn't fight it alone. At his side was his anchor, his wife of nearly 40 years, Felicia Farr, along with his children, Chris and Courtney. They were his sanctuary, the tight-knit circle that let him handle the brutal realities of his illness away from the media glare. He was in and out of hospitals, like the USC Norris Comprehensive Cancer Center, but always with quiet discretion. His struggle was his own, and he faced it with dignity. This intense privacy was, in many ways, the ultimate Jack Lemmon role. Here was one of the most famous faces on the planet, managing to shield his most vulnerable moments from the world. He'd talked about his past struggles with drinking, but this was different. This wasn't a battle already won. It was one being fought, day by day. He wanted to protect his family from the circus that often surrounds a celebrity illness and hold on to some sense of normalcy. He just kept showing up. He attended events, accepted awards, and gave interviews, never letting on the physical toll the cancer was taking. It was an incredible act of strength. The same man who could channel so much turmoil on screen proved to be a master of composure in his own life. He refused to be defined by his diagnosis. He was an actor, a husband, and a father. Cancer was a devastating part of his life, but he refused to let it be his life. In the final 2 years of his life, with a secret he was keeping from the world, Jack Lemmon delivered some of his most moving performances. He wasn't just acting anymore. He was channeling a truth he knew all too well. In 1999, he played Maury Schwartz in the TV movie Tuesdays with Maury, about a professor dying from ALS. It's a story about facing death with grace and love. For Lemmon, this wasn't just a script. It was a mirror. He poured his own quiet understanding of life's fragility into the role, and the performance was breathtaking. It earned him an Emmy Award, which he tearfully accepted, thanking his incredible wife and his children, saying, "What I do is important, but you are my life, and I love you with all my heart." That same year, he starred opposite his friend George C. Scott in a remake of Inherit the Wind, earning his last Golden Globe. Even as his health failed, his commitment never did. As his co-star Hank Azaria later said, he was the patron saint of acting without limits. His final role was a quiet one, an uncredited narration for Robert Redford's 2000 film, The Legend of Bagger Vance. It was a fittingly gentle exit, his unmistakable voice gracing the screen one last time. The final months were hard. In May of 2001, he had his gallbladder removed. On the evening of June 27, 2001, at the USC Norris Cancer Center, Jack Lemmon's final battle ended. He was 76. His family was by his side. His son, Chris, later shared that his father never once complained, trying only to make it easier on them. In his last moments, all he could do was mouth the words, "I love you." He was laid to rest in the same cemetery as his friend Walter Matthau, who had died almost exactly 1 year earlier. In a final perfect touch of Lemmon wit, his gravestone reads like a movie title card, "Jack Lemmon in." Jack Lemmon gave us laughter, tears, and a powerful sense of our shared humanity. His final years showed us the meaning of quiet courage. What's your favorite Jack Lemmon movie, and what part of his legacy means the most to you? Let us know in the comments. The news of Jack Lemmon's death sent a wave of sadness through Hollywood and far beyond. The tributes that poured in spoke volumes. Billy Wilder called him the best actor he ever worked with. Kevin Spacey, who saw Lemmon as a mentor, said that Hollywood has given no greater or versatile actor to the world than Jack Lemmon. Friends and colleagues gathered for a memorial, sharing stories that were, fittingly, both hilarious and heartbreaking. His legacy is all about that incredible duality. He was a master of both comedy and drama, often blending them together in a single role. He could be the bug-eyed comedian one moment and a man of devastating sadness the next. His genius was in understanding that life is rarely just one thing. It's funny and tragic, absurd and profound, often all at once. His final years added another layer to that legacy. The everyman on screen was also the everyman who faced a terrifying diagnosis with immense privacy and strength. His battle with cancer, though fought behind closed doors, has since become part of a larger conversation, posthumously shining a light on the disease. He didn't want pity. He just wanted to live his remaining time on his own terms, with the people he loved, and with the work that gave him purpose. Jack Lemmon's life was, in so many ways, a masterful performance. He gave us characters that felt as real as our own friends and neighbors, and in doing so, he held up a mirror to our own complicated lives. His final act, though, was a performance of a different kind. It was a silent, powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit. With no script, no audience, and no awards, it may have been his most meaningful role of all. A life lived brilliantly in the spotlight, and a final battle fought with the quiet grace of a truly great man. Jack Lemmon, 1925 to 2001.